from the world's hottest day. It's actually not even that hot. It's pretty hot where I am. Never thought we'd say that in England. I'm so hot that I'm actually in my bedroom because it's the cooler room, because my living room has a south-facing window, which is delightful. But also, I feel like I'm in a greenhouse. So I've moved. And I am talking rubbish because I want to find out if we are actually, in fact, live. It doesn't look like it right now. It doesn't, but it should be.
Your chair is interesting.
I know, right?
I think I like it. Do you know the universe must
not showing up? We are live, but it's just your face. So that's really weird.
I pity the audience. Sorry, you're all fucked if you can only see my face.
No, it's not. We're not fucked because we can see your face.
I'm kidding. By the way, while you're concentrating, your chair is very on topic. Do you want to know why?
Oh no, it was just that I left you on your own in the restream room and then left it.
Well, why would you do that?
Oh, that was the one that I went live with a second ago. You know, I went live and I counted down and then I exited it.
Are we back now?
You were just now on your own on the page.
Well, can I say what I wanted to say about your chair now, please?
Yeah.
Right. So, something is trying to tell me something about green, the colour green.
Okay.
Because there's a PT at the gym and he had just worked out and he wasn't wearing his uniform. And he had a lovely green T-shirt on. I said, I like your green T-shirt. And he said, it's a bit different, isn't it? And then you rock up sitting on a green chair.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm not trying to say anything. Could it mean anything?
Yeah, sure. What could it mean? You're going to make loads of money. Lots of green.
Except our notes are orange, pink and blue, aren't they?
What? Oh, yeah.
American notes.
Green? $5. You're going to get a $5 soon.
Yeah, but $5's blue.
Oh, is it?
Do you not know the colour of your money? God, what it must be like to be.
How often do you use cash?
What it must be like to be swimming in it. Like, I don't know what fucking money looks like.
I mean, it's cash.
I give cash to my kids for school trips.
Oh yes. Just remembered I've got to give my nephew some money for his birthday.
So my youngest went to Whipsnade Zoo the other day.
Oh yeah, Whipsnade.
And she said, Daddy, can I have some money, please? I said, don't worry, baby girl. She goes, we can spend up to £10. I said, all good. And then we had a little bit of a debate. I said, I'll give you £10. She goes, no, Daddy. Up to £10. I said, let me just check the email, darling. And the email said a maximum of £10, right? So that was the first little thing. Anyway, I said, make sure you bring a receipt back. So she brought a receipt back. Do you know what she bought?
What?
She bought a fucking... Excuse my language. I'm so sorry. It's
okay. Fine. Don't worry.
She bought like a fake hatching egg with a stupid toy in it. Do you want me to go and get it?
Desperately. So hi to everyone watching. Well, there's no one yet. But if you are on the replay... Oh, I found it. I'm going to wipe my camera. I don't know how that would even get... Maybe that will clear it up a little bit. Does that look better?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
She bought this.
For a tenner?
For a £5. I don't know what else she bought for a tenner, but literally she bought two things and fuck all else and then turns up. And I was like, did you not get anything for your sister? She's like, no.
Of course I didn't. Why would I?
Because her sister gets stuff for us. Her sister went to Silverstone, bless her, and I know she's 10. She bought the Lewis Hamilton book for us both to share.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cute?
Nice.
So I've got one generous soul and one greedy twat.
I don't know if I'm generous. I love sharing things. I share my own things. My sister hates sharing things, which is really weird. So
give me an example of something you shared as...
I love sharing food. Caroline does share food.
Caroline shares food.
Caroline loves sharing food. Caroline loves sharing food, other people's food with herself as well. Like, I just love sharing food. But I'm also a sharer. So it's like, I'm not hypocritical. My sister hates sharing food.
So speaking of which, and I don't want to seem like I'm obsessed by my daughters, although I am. I do love them to bits. My eldest daughter has got her mother's habit. So I always pick a dessert that I like, and it is always, and throughout my entire marriage, my ex consistently would always eat my dessert. And I'm like, but you ordered dessert. And she would have this thing of, we can't order the same thing. I'm like, why can't we order the same thing? You like it, I like it, just order the same thing. She's like, no, we have to try something different. There's no point trying something different. You don't fucking like it, right? And my eldest daughter has picked up this habit. She orders something, she goes, Daddy, yours is so much nicer. I'm like, you should have just ordered what I ordered.
I'm writing your link into the chat, sorry. I got distracted. Did I miss something important? You're supposed to be talking to the audience as well, not just me. I'm trying to promote you, man. There you go. You're next in the chat anyway. So
did you actually hear any of that?
I heard. Oh no, I heard it, but then I lost it pretty fast. Well, anyway, we've had a nice 6-minute preamble.
Is this how captivating I am? Go on, go for it.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, I'm sweating here, I'm sitting here sweating like a...
Cool. That's not what I was talking about, though.
Well, you were fairly non-specific. Okay, what am I doing? Is this about the thing tomorrow, that thing?
Yeah, talk about it. I've shared the link in the chat.
Oh, thank you very much. Love you lots. I am launching, as the URL says, the Something Fun Network. And it is a place, it's a little Zoom call, which we've said is 60 minutes, but I realise that could be intimidating / boring if you're someone like me when you see 60 minutes and think, holy cow. But the point is, I've been through some stuff which we can or cannot get into throughout life. Some of those being divorce, some of them being debt, some of them being redundancy. And when I looked for people who had similar experiences for support, I just found it quite draining. All the resources out there. So thanks to you and Cordelia, I decided to create this. So you turn up. The idea is you feel lighter than when you joined. You don't need to prepare anything. You don't need to do anything for it. You just need to rock up and maybe listen to me talk shit. Maybe we can all talk shit together. And just be authentic. And so that's what, with your good help, we are launching tomorrow. So I'm kind of scared in case no one turns up. I'm scared in case I don't know what the fuck to talk about. But I'm looking forward to it because I feel like I'm doing this for others, not for me. And you got me out of my head this minute. Like, you need to turn up for other people because someone might need it. And so, yeah.
It's very easy to make it about ourselves when there's amazing value we can be helping other people with.
You actually made me feel selfish. I was like, God damn it. Stop being
really.
That was so manipulative, honestly.
Was I manipulative? I don't think so.
No, you weren't.
I don't think I was. That used to be a big trigger of mine. I used to be really scared that was manipulative.
Oh, really? Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm over that now. I'm genuine as they come.
I mean, you literally don't give a shit. I love it when we have chats and I have an identity crisis and then you just look at the camera deadpan and go, oh, that's a nice story you've got there. Yeah. Cool story, bro. Like it. And you just sit there. And I'm like, is she going to say anything else? Is anything coming?
Yeah, I don't buy into it.
And I've gotten used to it now because there is nothing coming. So if anyone talks to Caroline, and you absolutely should speak to Caroline.
I'm different with different people, though. I'm not like that necessarily with all my clients because, like, you have to see how they react.
So why can't I get the sympathy then, bro?
I don't give anyone sympathy, really. I'm empathetic, but you suit a jar. It's like you don't need like.
You suit a jar.
Like me being like, snap out. You'll do well for that. Some people need to be like gently soothed out, but you're quite good at being snapped out of it. If you are watching, come say hello to us because we would love to interact with you and we'd love for you to interact with us. It'd be great. It'd be really good. Say hello. Join into the chat. So, quick question as well. Where did you look? So explain. Energy is a big thing for you. Let's start there. Actually, energy is a big thing for you, and that, from what I understand, is what you were sort of struggling with, and there was mindset stuff in there, and you then joined, like, what is it? Did you join some Facebook groups or?
I did Facebook groups. I went to Tony Robbins events. I went to Mind Valley. And look, I don't want to cuss any of those events. They were very positive in and of themselves. But when you start breaking out into communities, it's kind of like, it just, for me, it got draining, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not saying pad over the stuff that's happened to you, but what I am saying, if you actually get under the hood, right? A lot of this stuff, and it's how you treat, and this is a very serious point, and this is what you do to me. It's a story you tell yourself. Like, bad shit happens. Objectively, shit is bad, okay? Some of shit is bad. But what's worse is when you exponentially magnify it in your own head. Now, a lot of people don't know they're doing that. And I did that. I did that about losing my dad at 10. And until 3 years ago, I blamed him for leaving me at the age of 10, right? Like, what a ridiculous thing. But it's a story you tell yourself. And, when we talk about, people talk about mindset, it's so airy-fairy. It's like, when I talk about technology and people are like, oh, cloud and transformation, they're such high-level bullshitty words. But actually, if you look at outcomes and you look at, and again, another thing you brought to me was Byron Katie. If you look at, and I'm misusing this, but in her context, but the work that needs to go into it, then it's how do you reprogram your experience of life and the shit that's happened to you, right? And has it happened to you, or in Tony Robbins' world, has it happened for you? So anyway, that was a really long answer to a very short question. Did that make sense?
So you went to Tony Robbins retreats and you did Mind Valley and you went to Facebook groups. And so what was the problem though? So yeah, like I love, and it wasn't, the background story is great. I love that. It's my job as an interviewer to rein you in. However, I wonder, is this a quote?
Get to interview you as well.
Of course you can. We can do that on your page if you want.
I mean now.
Now, yeah, sure, if you want to.
Okay, cool.
Do you know what? I'm thinking about calling this a soapbox session. So you got on your soapbox, which I love. I love it when people get on their soapbox. One of the rebels, it was Marion, she recommended to me, she said, I think she called it a soapbox session. I was like, yes, that is exactly it. It's a soapbox session. So I want to get people on their soapbox. So I kind of want, like, yeah, so you've got your soapbox, which is great. And now I want you to answer the question. So I'm just kidding. So the question is, where did you go? So Facebook groups, communities. Yeah.
So,
like, can you tell me a specific experience where you were like, oh.
I remember I signed up to, I don't want to name the program that it was on because I don't want to deprive them of sales. But anyway, it was like we went to an event and there was an upsell of a premium program, right? And so I signed up excitedly. And as I joined like the twice weekly calls, it was the same people having the same identity crisis week to week, despite like there being, and maybe the problem was it was group coaching, right? I firmly believe that depending on where you're at, if you work with someone, sometimes you need to work with them one-to-one before you join a massive or even a cohort of more than one person, because I think that's just what you need, sometimes to level set. And so it was the same people talking about the same stuff, and it was just repeating, and that just stood out for me. And I was like, this is not energizing me. And I have reasons why I talk about energy and not time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that came from one of the other coaches that I used to listen, that I still listen to, which was, the reality is you don't run out of time, you run out of energy to do things, right? So the most precious thing that we need to protect is our energy, not our time. If you protect your energy, time takes care of itself, right? Yeah.
So you join these groups and they drained your energy because it was, what was it, like people just kind of moaning?
Oh, I don't want to sound like that twat, but it's
try harder.
So for instance, right, you know the story that I used to have rheumatoid arthritis, and I suppose medically speaking, I'll always have it.
Yeah.
But in the past year, or 2 years, I've been for blood tests and I have zero inflammation in my blood. So if anyone's ever had an autoimmune condition, you know that even when you don't have symptoms, you always have elevated inflammation markers. And I don't anymore. Used to, but I don't. And where was I going with this? I've completely fucking forgotten.
People moaning, maybe?
So I joined a rheumatoid arthritis Facebook group. That was a Facebook group. And it was just people basically saying, I've had this flare up and that flare up, and the doctor said put me on this, and the doctor said put me on that, and maybe it's being of Indian origin, I don't know, or embracing Indian philosophy, but I never want to be on drugs. I'm not going to vilify GPs or medicine here. And I think everybody has conditions and there is a time and a place. And so please, 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 if you're on shit, don't just stop taking it, right? Without speaking to a professional. But I made a decision. I'm like, I'm not having this for the rest of my life. It got to a point where my GP or my rheumatologist was like, I'm going to put you on this drug. It's called methotrexate. And if you speak to pharmacists and doctors, it is a dirty drug, right? It's one of those drugs where it was used for one thing. They thought, fucking hell, we can use it for a load of other stuff. A bit like hydroxychloroquine as well, right? Why? Because it makes somebody some money somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at
it's an interesting topic to definitely get into. Yeah. That's a really interesting topic. You finish this story, then we'll get into that.
Sure.
Maybe.
And I looked at the side effects, and the side effects were like having a mini flare-up every day. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So after about 6 months, I just told my rheumatologist I've stopped taking them. But people need to understand, like...
Did you take them then?
I took them for 3 months, then I thought, screw this.
Did you feel... What were the side effects you felt? Did you feel side effects?
I don't think I took it long enough for it to kick in.
But you didn't... So it didn't help or hinder?
Not at that time. And
right, okay.
The drug I was on before... But I was also on hydroxychloroquine, which I'd been on for like 7 years. And so maybe that was helping. But I just thought, no. And so going back to the community, I was like, okay, this is not my tribe, right? And when I don't know how I saw Cordelia first. It was Cordelia, not you. But I saw Cordelia and I thought, and I'm not trying to plug you guys, right? By the way, I'm not getting paid for this. I fucking wish I was. But but I was just like, those are my sorts of people. Some of the people within Tony Robbins, like percentages, those are my people. More of the people within Mind Valley, those are my people. The people that I go to at the gym I go to, those are my tribe, right? And so it was as much about working on myself as making sure that my surroundings were conducive to healing and, being where I am today. And I'm so, so grateful to everyone and everything that has come across my path, because we wouldn't be having this chat otherwise.
So essentially, that's quite interesting. There's been a bugbear of there's been 2 places, at least, where you've gone, this is just, it's wrapped up in this positive headspace thing, this uplifting space. And then going there, it's well, actually, this is just full of complaints. And this is also full of complaints. I guess when people are, a lot of people who are going through a tough time, they want to complain.
Yeah. And
so that was just something that you'd be like, what was it, not making you feel better, or you just it's not my vibe?
Yeah, it was the latter. I don't realistically go to these things expecting that being a member of a group or being part of, the Release Business Network is all of a sudden going to fucking major wave a magic wand, because it's not. But it's being in an environment that's conducive to you waving your own magic wand and creating whatever it is you're wanting to create, whether it's a business, good health, better relationships, I don't know. Everything and anything in between, right? So
okay.
I don't know where I was at.
It's interesting that you joined those groups. You got an experience of them.
Well, it was relatability, right? I don't know if you know people that have autoimmune conditions, but one of the things that you always struggle with, irrespective of if you have, depending on the disease, stomach problems, brain problems, skin problems, whatever, joint problems, you have chronic fatigue. And I think the majority of people do not understand what fatigue is. Like they use it loosely, like they use the term allergy. I had an allergic reaction to that. No, if you had an allergic reaction and you didn't have an EpiPen, you would be in an ambulance and you would have probably turned purple, right? Because I've seen it happen to someone, right?
Okay.
So, you know, but I'm on a soapbox now, aren't I?
Get on the soapbox.
But, you know,
You said you started it off by saying relatability.
yeah, and so that's why I joined, because people don't get what chronic fatigue feels like, right? They think, oh, I'm tired, I'm fatigued. No, for me, it's a bit like when I was younger and I used to go out on 3-day benders, and then that feeling of tiredness, you'd sleep for another 3 or 4 days and it'd be gone. But having something like fatigue and brain fog is having that feeling all the time, no matter what you do, without going on a bender. And so, and so that's why I joined. It was relatability, but then I realised that I'm not relating to these people.
It's like the chronic fatigue without the fun bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you felt like, and so I guess what did that make you feel isolated as well?
Yeah, and that's why I started running, because running, the bit after running, that kind of, and if that kind of 5 or 10 minutes of story after you finished a run was the only time I felt fresh. And then that put me on this path of personal growth, personal development, health, wellness, all this shit. So I'm not going to lie, it ain't easy. And if people want to sort themselves out, you're going to need to put some work in. Like a lot of work. So yeah. What do you know when I go on about all this stuff? Sorry, I'm dismissing myself. When I share some of this stuff on my face, on my soapbox, what comes up for you? Like, what are you thinking?
I think you've done a great job to like overcome. I think it's great.
But no, not just about me, but in general. Like, do you come across it in your life or like amongst rebels? Like what?
Not really. I'm not really exposed to it.
Okay.
If I'm honest. I don't meet. I mean, okay, so my stepmom and my dad, I presume, are sick. They're not healthy. They're, so I think my stepmom's always moaning about her back, and I just know, like, so I do encounter. Yeah, I actually do encounter. I do encounter people with health problems, and yeah, there's sometimes a lot of complaints. I'm just so grateful. Like, I just don't have that.
I'd love to
I've
know.
never really.
Have we got any viewers or not? But if we do in the replay, I'd love to know what that person's thought is, because I know I'm very opinionated and I come across as judgmental.
I think that's just a story. You're overanalyzing yourself. You're giving yourself a bit of judgment.
Maybe I try not to, because for me, the way I try to operate is better and better every day, right? But the reason I asked you the question is it's interesting to see what the perception is on the outside. And
of what though? What is the actual question?
Question is, what do people, if they encounter unhealthy or ill people in their life, like what are the things they hear from these people? How do the healthy people that are hearing these things deal with it?
I suppose my impression is there's two people, right? There's the stoic ones, there's the complaining ones, I guess. Like, it's not often I come across someone who's like ill but upbeat, which is fair. I mean, when I'm ill, I'm a very positive person. Like, I have a very good disposition. In general, I didn't used to think that, but then I figured out I'm actually pretty positive naturally, or I don't know whether it's through working on myself. I don't know what it is. But if I'm ill, you won't hear the end of it. I'm so ill. I don't give me sympathy. I'm ill. I'm like, I am the center of the universe, and everyone needs to know I'm ill. So I had flipping COVID last week. I think I mentioned. Well, I think I had COVID. I had a cold of some kind, and it felt COVID because it was. Well, I don't actually think it was, because I actually don't. Yeah, but I had sinus inflammation. My head hurt a lot last week. My throat was so sore when it first started. I was itchy eyes. I could feel it now to talk about it. It's like, oh, it's in my, there's so much in my face. And I told everyone. I was like, yeah.
I did not get the memo.
You definitely did. Got the memo. I did tell you. So I think it's hard because it really like takes away your attention. It's like hard to be like this, right? I'm ill. Oh, but my family are really healthy, and I'm really proud of what I do, and
I'm so glad to be
work,
alive.
my work gives me so much fulfillment. And like when I'm not like, worn out from fighting this illness, I love running. Like we just, it's quite like it's a very loud voice, isn't it? When you're ill, it's like it's quite hard to separate. It's hard to look at anything other than ill. That's all you can see. That's all you can like. Even though there's so many other amazing things around you, all you see is ill. And so therefore, it's like, well, what am I going to talk about? Oh, ill. That's my topic. That's all I've got. Ill. And then I'm not going to say, isn't it fantastic? You can have a compromised immune system. Just great. What a fantastic experience it is to have illness. How great is that? So I think like, it's really understandable that when someone is unwell, that then they're going to be negative. So I think it makes sense that you've encountered that. And I'm a good example of a woe is me kind of sick note.
Do you like running? I didn't know that.
No.
I'm going to stand.
I don't like running.
You don't like running?
I do run sometimes.
Oh, you do run? Oh, okay.
Sometimes. I can't run very far. I joined a running club.
Did you?
Yeah, I joined a running club, but I ended up not being very consistent with it. I'm not a very consistent person.
What, generally?
Yeah.
That's what you tell yourself.
I don't care.
My Jedi.
I think the thing is, there's a difference, right? I think it's not necessary. I think, well, potentially, yeah, I can tell myself that story, but I don't have a huge amount of judgment for it. It's like I know my virtues, so I'm good. There are things that I'm quite good at, and there are things that I'm not good at, and I'm okay with not being good at certain things. Consistency is just not something that's natural to me. Maybe that is a story. It probably is, but I also don't care. Because I feel very much accomplished in my life and in all areas, and it didn't seem to require much consistency.
I'm going to call you out on this, right? Because a lot of people,
Go on, then.
I should do fairly big. Well, I ran half marathons, and I'm going to do a marathon at some point where I can be asked to train more than 2 days a week. But people are like, "Oh wow, I saw you on Instagram and whatever else. You're a runner," and I'm like, "Well, why don't you start?" And they're like, I'm not a runner. And I remember listening to a guy that was really overweight. He was a Radio 5 Live presenter. And, he just started running. And he said, if you run, you're a runner. The running is not about whether you've done half marathons or the distance or whether you even do it consistently. If you are able to do a controlled fall, right, going forwards, which is basically what running is, you're a runner. And I feel like there's all these pillocks who are like, oh yeah, did London Marathon in 55 seconds, yeah? And it's like, that's good for you. But there's going to be a lot of people who see you do that who are not even going to get up off their sofa and try running because your voice is loud and you've said that.
Do you know what? It's really weird.
I know you're probably not one of those people that would be impacted by that, but there are lots of people that are. And they won't start something because they see someone who they perceive as good at it. It's all very subjective.
That is everything, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, because so for something that I do a lot is I write a lot, and I don't just mean like I should probably talk about it. I try not to talk about it because I don't know. I maybe talk about it at some point. But I'm.
Try not to talk.
Because I'm writing about a taboo subject that I don't necessarily want to. I want to keep it separate from business. So I feel like I've got my audience here. I've got a specific kind of person. That what I'm writing for in my spare personal time is targeting a completely different audience, and it's talking a very different subject matter. And also, and to be transparent, Cordelia and I, if there's ever kind of like an innuendo or something like that's a bit like, I don't know, not vanilla that ever pops up, there's a lot of like, there can be a lot of, I don't want to say misogyny, but there's a lot of like, we've just been in situations where it's like, come on, like, so we've kind of created this a bit of, we kind of gatekeep specific subjects because we can sometimes feel a bit like objectified or a bit there's this thing, and I'll be transparent. I feel like there's this thing where, and I'm not a man basher or anything like that. I love men, and I think they get a really tough rap, right? There's a lot of like unfairness. However, I do feel like, maybe it's a sweet thing, really. There are some guys, and it is, unfortunately, it is guys. I haven't seen this. Actually, no, that's not true. I've seen it with women as well. I'm not going to be unfair, because I have seen it with women, although it's just different dynamic. If there's any sort of inkling of like something risky or something whatever, they use that as like this opportunity to then go hard, right? Like if we've said a subtle innuendo, and there's those certain guys that then sort of get on that and make it a thing, because it's almost like you've given them permission to now, the door's open. It's like, oh, I've opened the door for misogyny, for an objectification, because I've mentioned this thing that's on this side of things. Like, so it's quite, and it is, and you know, when your personal brand's attached to it, it's like, oh, this is tarnishing my brand, and it's like completely off the reins, and it kind of makes things less of a safe space. So we're very specific, and we are very conscientious or conscious. I sometimes mix it. Anyway, we're very conscious of not muddying the waters with our own sort of with our branding. Our brand voice is almost, we say it's like it's 12. Like if you go to cinema, we're a 12, maybe even a 15, but definitely not like 12 to 15. Like that's where we go. So when it's like veering into like taboo subjects or anything else, it's a bit of a pushback, because more of the case it's the brand. So what I'm personally writing on is a much more taboo subject, and there's politics involved, and like different. It's just a different thing, and so I'm always a bit not wary, but I just don't always talk about it, because I don't want that to be the brand here. But it's important for me to open up about what I'm doing and stuff like that. So at some point, maybe I will. I don't know. I'm undecided. So yeah. But in terms of the consistency or whatever, yeah. So still not consistent, but I'm a writer because I write. Although I would say 90% of what I write is garbage. That's kind of how it is. I imagine 90% of the time people run. They're not happy with it or whatever. Like 90% of like, you know, Ernest Hemingway says the first draft of everything is shit.
Which then brings me on to a question, because you've written stuff for me, right? And I've actually messaged you on WhatsApp, and I thought, like, this is nuts. It's so good. So on average, the stuff that you write for me, like, how many times are you writing it? If you're saying that 90% is garbage, which by the way, I fully am going to challenge you on that.
No, I don't think that's a limiting belief. Maybe some people would. It depends what stand you're writing. The difference with us, I wouldn't necessarily. You know, I refine. I do care about the quality of the words that I produce. The difference with us is that I'm not writing something new, so it's easier for me to write this because I've got a bit of a format. I'm going, okay, so these are the things I need to cover, and so it's very easy for me. And I do use AI. Like I'm not going to pretend like it's my writing. It is my writing, but I heavily lean on AI. For my personal projects, that's a lot harder to do because I've got a format. I haven't got a formula in my personal writing. I haven't got like tens of you know, maybe even hundreds now, clients that I can say I've worked with these clients, and this is the thing that we go through, and these are the things that they need, and I can't do that with what I'm doing because it's new in a way. So it's just not as formulaic. So what I'm able to write with you or with clients, I can do a lot easier. Like I've been working on I'm writing a TV series, and and I've been working on it for over a year, just the first season, and I have now got the first draft of the first scene. It should get a lot easier now because I spent a lot of time plotting. But again, I kind of know what the first episode happens, but like I just know what happens. But I think it was about February where I was like, so I started writing it last May, had a breakup. I was like, right, finally going to write this thing. And I think I only figured out what the first episode was going to be. And I've got a reputation for just writing. Like when I go to a writing group, everyone's like, I'm like constantly writing. I mean, it's garbage. That's what I mean. Probably 99% is garbage because it's just me just hammering away. And it took me until February, and I go once a week, so that's not that many. You know, it's like 40 weeks or whatever. I don't know how many it actually is. So it's 40 hours maybe of just hammering away before I even realized, like, oh, that's all pointless. This is actually the first episode. This is what's going to happen. And so it took this whole time to just get rid of, like, it's almost like I had this backstory and all this garbage, and I was just like, it was just so complicated. And then eventually I was like, there's too much backstory going on. What happens if I just put these people in a room and just kind of make them argue, like, straight away? And then I was like, oh yeah, this is way better. So it took me till February. And since February, I've now been plotting it out in that sort of way. And so 2 weeks ago, I finally plotted the whole season. So now I know what's going to happen. And so the last week on Tuesday, when I had COVID, I thought it was just allergies. Because it was very silly of me to go to a public place and write. But so maybe everyone's sick now. But I went to my writers group and I just started writing the actual draft of the first episode. But it's taken me over a year to just know what's going to happen in the series.
The thing is, you were in that, right? Like, you know, for some people, I don't want to judge everyone, but there would be people who would say, right, I'm going to write a TV series, and it would be a year elapsed, and then they'd think, right, I'm going to go do something else. I would probably do that, right? But you were like, okay, well, I've started this, but were you always thinking about it? You might not have been.
The idea came in 2016, so it's been bugging me since 2016.
Okay, but during the past year, in particular, until the plot and the first episode became clear. So let's say from last May to the date when you got your first episode, were you like, no, I don't want to say constantly thinking about it, but was it always on your mind? Yeah. See, yeah. So that's why, right? That's just how long it took. That's the process. Like,
I don't know what you mean.
I mean, it'd be easy to. I personally think if I was in your position and I thought, shit, it's been a year, I haven't got a first episode for this TV series, I think maybe I shouldn't be writing TV.
Well, it has continued to evolve the whole time. Like I do have the first episode, I just haven't written it. So, you know, so the first 6 months maybe was like, you know, wanted to smash my face against a keyboard. That was really hard. But, you know, and I kind of fooled myself into thinking I was making progress, but I was just making this really elaborate backstory. I kind of had this really elaborate backstory for everyone, and I was like almost pre-writing it. And I think that's a really common thing that writers do. They pre-write everything, and then they're like, oh, fucking hell, story, this is so much bullshit. Let's just get into what happens. And that's such a classic rule. Get straight into the action. And I try and do that with clients as well. It's like I just want to go, here is the juicy bits, right? Here's the things you need. Here's the substance. I always try and put substance first. But so that was a long time, but it was only, you know, I kind of thought I was making progress up until February when I'd finished my first episode. Like I had a draft of a first episode, and that took me a really long time to draft this episode. And then once I'd finished drafting that episode, I think I started on the second episode, and I was like, and I think where I drafted that first episode, I started on the second episode, and I was like, well, this is I've got a way better idea of what I want to do now. And actually, that first episode doesn't even. This is just a non-episode, because now I'm like, actually, this is just it. This is what I want to happen. So it's actually on drafting the second episode that I was really like, I realized like, oh, the first episode is completely pointless. There's nothing in it. There's nothing good. It's a useless thing. It doesn't make any sense. And maybe one day I'll say, here's what was actually going to happen, and everyone will be like, oh, that's weird.
That's consistency.
Huh?
That's consistency. I think we live in a world now where people don't show up all the time. Like, it gets difficult, or stuff doesn't happen straight away, and then they're like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. What you did was consistency. Whether you thought it was
Pardon?
Whether you thought it was right or not is kind of, it's just being consistent. Either thinking about it or continuing to write or recutting. It's consistency, right?
Yeah, I'm consistent with my writing. I would say I'm consistent with my writing because I go to a writing group. I wish there was an account, like a bookkeeping group. I'd do all my bookkeeping.
Probably is.
Yeah, like just, hey, come hang out and do your bookkeeping once a month. I'd go, yeah, great. And that'd be my I want allocated time for everything, like that other people are doing. Like, here's the time. Let's have an email replying group. All you do in this group is you sit down for an hour and reply to your emails. You clear out your inbox or whatever it is. Like, I just want groups like that allocated for everything. And it's been so great with my writing group, because I've seen how much progress I've made with just 1 hour a week. Well, it's an hour and a half a week. I've made so much progress.
So why not create a bookkeeping group then?
Oh, I don't care enough about it.
Oh, I'm sure maybe someone on the replay might have sparked an idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bookkeepers that we're big on using events to generate leads. And I mean, that would be an ideal thing, right? For anyone who's a bookkeeper or an accountant, set up a monthly bookkeeping club. I mean, it sounds very boring, and I'm a weird target. It's weird that I'm like, that's something that appealed to me, but it would. But yeah, just set up a monthly, hey guys, come in, do your bookkeeping, leave. And then you ask, the only way for them to join your call is to give you their email address, and then bam, you're building a list of people that are struggling to do their bookkeeping. And so then it's like, well, hey, why are you bothering doing your bookkeeping? Let me do it for you. You know,
I'll fully outsource that stuff because I don't enjoy it.
It's more just like it's like, to be fair, it is outsourced, but there's like things I need to like, yes, you know,
Receipts.
Not really, just reconciling. I mean, it's all done on an app. I'm being really, really ridiculous. It's like virtually no work at all. It takes me probably half hour every 3 months. So
I want to rejuvenate my relationship with numbers.
Oh, I love numbers.
Yeah.
I'm actually a numbers person, believe it or not. I am.
The other day, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like my strongest subject in school was not English. It was maths. I love it.
Did you do A-level maths?
No.
Yeah,
I did all the humanities.
See, oddly,
English, politics, sociology.
I think I'm of a different schooling generation. I mean, I'm sure if you haven't guessed my age, you probably can. But I remember that maths got to a point where, from what I remember of maths, there's two disciplines, right? Like there's the statistics stuff, and then there's like mechanics, which is to do with physics. But the bit that I really enjoyed was things like differentiation by first principles. So this is a theory, or this is a thing that you do with numbers to get to this outcome.
Like algebra.
Yeah. And
I love algebra.
That I could get with, and then I used to talk to my mates, and they'd be like, "Oh, we did maths as a degree," and I'm like, "What the shit?" And they're like, "It is nothing like what you learn at school, because it's so abstract."
My friend did like a maths module at uni, and I remember once she was like working everything out, and she was doing this thing, and she was working out. She's like, "I've just got to I've got to figure out what X is." That's her whole thing. And she's just, it's crazy the things that she's doing. And I think about 3 days later, she was so haggard. She came in, she's like, X is fucking zero. X is fucking zero. Are they kidding?
Why X is zero as well, not just X is zero.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But she was like so haggard and just like, why would they do that? Why would they do that to me? So that was quite funny. Same person actually got disqualified for plagiarizing herself. That's it. That's a great story. Oh, it's a different story. But yeah, she plagiarized herself. So
you can get done for that. It's your intellectual property.
Well, she'd sold it. She'd basically like, yeah. Anyway, so now I don't know where. Yeah, I won't go into any detail with that. But it was all fine. She was like, she
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, it was really entrepreneurial. Like, it was great. She was very smart. But yeah, so she plagiarized herself, and yeah, she was very bright. So yeah.
Are you an academic then? I feel like you are.
I have a degree.
Yeah. Okay, but
I got accepted to do a master's in NYU. Actually, I was offered a scholarship.
All right.
That was a really proud moment in my life.
How to not answer a question?
I don't know what's an academic.
By not answering the question. Sorry.
Depends. Well, you know, if we get all intellectual, I'd say I'm an autodidact. Self-taught. I'm really fascinated by like intellectual topics. Basically.
Is that what autodidact means?
It means self-taught.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I kind of wish I don't want to talk about this anymore. I feel like a twat.
Every day's a school day.
I don't know, what does an academic mean?
Well, I just think someone who, for me, look, I think there are probably objective meanings. For me, when I asked the question, I should have explained this before I asked it, is, are you academic in the sense of the traditional education system in this country?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I am not.
Really?
I was not. No.
I wasn't. I was quite. I was very well. Yeah, I was academic.
Like most people, wildly intelligent in my own way, but not according. Like GCSEs was fine. When I had to do A levels, like my brain just could not compute. So I'm learning shit for 2 years, and I have to remember a bulk of it in 3 hours per subject. Like, I'm
quite good at that. I think. Yeah, that was something. I've got good recollection. That's all it is, right? Okay, so that makes me feel a bit more comfortable, because I think there's a bit of like a pedestal of like, or whatever, you know, and I don't really like that. But I am very good at memorizing and then reflecting back, and that's part of my job as well. My job, what I'm doing a lot of times, digging information, and I remember the craziest details that clients have given me and people have given me, and I'll relate it back to them, and they're like, whoa. So that for me is just how and that's how I got through exams, as I was very good at absorbing and regurgitating. Really, I remember I had a really tough time understanding what the fuck sociology even was. It was like, it just really challenged me, because it was like, this person thinks this, and this person thinks this, and this person thinks this, and this person thinks this. And I was like, well, who's fucking right?
Well, isn't that philosophy?
Kind of similar veins, but it's more it's more groups. This group of people think this group of people think this group of people think this. I was like, well, who's right? It's like, what's the point of me knowing what all these groups think? Like, I couldn't understand how it was a subject at first. I really struggled just with the concept of the subject, because I was like, why do I care what all these different groups of people think? What's the truth? That's all I want to know. And obviously the point of it is that everyone's got their own different way of thinking society runs. And then I was like, oh, okay, so all I have to do is regurgitate what other people think. Right, fine. But it made no sense to me as a subject, because I was like, why is that important? Isn't truth the important thing? What's the truth? Who's being affected by this cause, and why, and how do we make things better? Isn't that all that's important? And so I got very challenged by sociology, because I was like, there's no solution. It's just listening to what people have to think, and I don't care.
I wonder if that's the mathematician in you.
Maybe. Well, I got it in the end, and I got like a really high score on my paper. I did pretty well, so I got it in the end. It's just I didn't get the concept at first.
I can relate to philosophy, geography, history too, but okay, it happened. Yeah. And economics, but out of economics, macroeconomics.
I like a bit of macroeconomics.
Not
I
much.
actually sometimes want to talk about macroeconomics. Like, I love a bit of macroeconomic theory, and that's not something I ever studied. It's just stuff I look into sometimes.
Because it's real, it's relatable, right?
Yeah, and that stuff I would always, you know what, and that stuff I've been really enthusiastic about talking about on the page, because we're talking about business, we're talking about, like, you know, the economy is important in terms of how what's going on with your business. So I think it's like it could be a really interesting topic to talk about. I'm not an expert on it, so I've always felt a little bit like apprehensive about it. But maybe it'd be cool for me to get economics people to come and be like on the podcast. I'd love to just know about, like, hey, tell me. I know someone who owns a private equity company, quite a big one. It's wild what this person's achieved. And so sometimes I'll just message them like, what's going on with the economy? So I've got an inside scoop, basically. It's on the up. In the next few months, we should feel things like less tight. So you're hearing it first, guys. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, it is my job to know what is going on in the economy. I'm like, okay, fine. Are we about to burst into World War III? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So I'll outsource that.
I have little knowledge other than, you know, kind of the little bit that I study and the opinions that I form. But I was talking to some guys at the gym today, and we were having a drink together, and I realised I don't want to live in this country anymore, because for people like us, it's just ridiculously expensive.
It's very difficult.
It's like the rich, they don't tax too much because they'll piss off and take their money somewhere else. The people that are less privileged get the benefits. So it's the middle bit.
Well, I mean, that's a real standard thing, but I actually feel like it's getting a bit more even. It's even getting a bit more extreme. I think it is really dividing rich and poor, because, like, just the average, you know, the tax you get, and just even if you're a poor business owner, it's crippling. It's really tough. I don't really want to be the doom and gloom, but yeah, it is really tough. I will give that. But
moving, if the country's like it is now.
Say again?
The country's like it is in current guise, I'm moving in as soon as I can, when the kids are older.
Yeah, I'm considering it. I had considered it this year, but I'm not sure.
Well, it's a shame, right? Because ultimately what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with a brain drain, and then you're just going to have you're going to need a massive social...
There's always going to be people propping up this economy. You know, like we've got...
And there has to be, right? But what bothers me is the lack of efficiency and accountability. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's like we're not like, if we were fully a democracy like the Americans, a lot of the wastage would not be tolerated, right? And if we were fully communist like the Chinese, then a lot of the wastage wouldn't be tolerated.
Oh right, we've got an interesting battle going on. I've got my battery's on 2%, so I'm going to go grab my charger. But continue telling me. You're in my ears, so tell me more about.
No, so
pure democracy versus Chinese.
It's just as simple as that. We've got a lot of... I don't mind propping up the country, because, you know, I was born to a good family. I was given good opportunities, and I've always been lucky enough to be surrounded by good people, which has taken me on a course of life. Having said that, the amount of tax that we have to pay, right? Like, it just doesn't seem right.
I'm intrigued. What do you think my background's like?
What do I think? What?
Have you formed an opinion about what you think my background's like?
An informed opinion on your background?
Yeah, like, do you reckon I'm a silver spoon baby, or a poor kid, or like what's
an interesting question?
Yeah.
The fact that you've asked that, so I would have given you one answer. The fact that you've asked me that question,
yeah,
I would say not silver spoon.
Yeah. I realised as soon as I said poor kid, I was like, well, only someone who's a poor kid can say that.
I would say the opposite.
Yeah, I'm Oliver Twist. Yeah.
I just see a lot of wastage in this country, right?
Oh, so much.
At like government level, at public sector level, and we are like anybody that works is funding this, right? Like we are sponsoring this wastage. And the net effect of it is we just spend more and more and more and get less and less and less. Like I use this example, like when you live in the States, and it's a bit different now in Trump world, but generally, especially in the Midwest, so let's forget New York and let's forget San Francisco because they are ridiculously expensive, right? But if you live in the middle that isn't too racist, it's just a good quality of life. When you work and you're in a good job and you have a decent income, you can feel what I call like an employed entrepreneur. In other words, you get a lot of bang for your buck, right? And in this country, the only way you do that, I think, from what I've seen of people, is to be mid six figures and working for yourself or having your own company. Because if you're earning the equivalent salary that you would in America and feel rich, here you like, I'm not saying that you're poor, but you just look at your tax bill and you think, right, that's 45-50%. Like, so there's this notional number on a pay slip, and the rest is disappearing into the ether where it's just getting wasted, right? Like, I know people are going to.
And then you have the cost of living.
Yeah, well. and so, and you end up paying for things twice. Like my kids have been and thanks to their mum as well. You know, we do okay together. But my kids have been at private school, and I know there's at least one country in the world where if your kids are at private school, the state will give you the money back, which is equivalent to the cost of what it would cost them to put your kids through school. And here, not only do they decide that they're not going to do that, they then go and say, oh, well, your kids are in private school. It's a privilege, so we're going to tax you 20%. Boom. It's like, are you smoking crack?
Yeah, the VAT thing.
So part of me is like, let's wait to see the clusterfuck of this policy when all these schools close and a bunch of people send their kids to state school and there's not enough room in classes and not enough teachers. Let's see. And look, this is a personal opinion, but like that's just an example of how I see where we're at the moment. And I don't like the past 5 years. Have been the only time when I've thought I want to leave this country. And I'm 48, right? Like I've never ever felt like this.
I now know how old you are.
You knew that.
Did I? Sorry. I thought you were younger.
This is proof that Caroline listens to 1 in every 3.
Oh yeah, I literally just said, I just was bragging about how great I am at listening to details. It's like, I'm so good. I hear everything. Oh yeah, that's embarrassing.
That's a rod for your own back, isn't it?
Come say hello. We have got viewers, but they're being really quiet today. I want some. Come chat with me. Come say hello.
I'd love to see. I'd love to hear what people are thinking about this because I'm an opinionated twat, right?
Yeah, you are.
It's 6 minutes. 6:12 and it's 30 degrees still.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine people. Well, to be fair, I imagine people are out and about and enjoying their summer, and I've worked very hard today, so I am actually going to call it an evening. Don't think I can do a 2-hour slot, but everyone.
I did nearly message you to say if you want to enjoy the sunshine, we don't have to do today.
Well, I'm consistent, aren't I? And a liar, apparently.
So am I. I'm consistent. Look, I showed up.
I'm not consistent, but I am. I do show up.
What are you going to do with the rest of your evening then?
Oh, I'm going to become enlightened.
Do what?
I'm going to become enlightened.
About what? Or just generally?
Oh, just reach enlightenment.
Like what? Like Zen enlightenment? Really? What does that look like? I'm excited. Can you enlighten me?
I'll let you know. I'll enlighten you when I'm enlightened.
I'm going to become enlightened too. I'm going to join you on this journey. Do you know how I'm going to do it?
How?
I'm going to turn some lights on.
Oh, that was really good. You're definitely a dad. And that was a good good joke.
I thought that was so shit. It should make you smile, and it did.
It really did. Smiled through gritted teeth.
They're still gritted. You can calm down now.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
that was very psychotic. Look, I don't know what I'm gonna do. The world is my oyster.
Literally
I'm
is.
probably going to lie kind of like sprawled out on my bed with a fan on me, if I'm honest.
Do you have a ceiling fan?
No.
Oh, you should get one.
Yeah, I should. But I'm not going to. I'll probably get an air conditioner before I get a ceiling fan.
How do they? Are they actually any good? Because the thing I can't.
Not a clue.
The thing I don't understand is to have those portable air conditioner things. You have a big thing that goes out the window, and the window has to be open, thereby letting heat in.
Is that?
Unless I
don't know. I think that's a washing machine or a tumble dryer.
A washing machine or a tumble dryer.
One of the two. Probably a tumble dryer.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Right.
Well,
let's go.
It was great. Let's go. Yeah, let's go cool down. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and good luck for tomorrow. Exciting.
Will you be there?
What? Oh no, I'm at writing group. Oh, I know.
Can you not feign support by just joining from your phone and going on mute while you write?
Yes.
Look how pathetic.
Yes, but I will have to have you on mute.
Please, friend.
Yes, but I will. Yeah, I'll have to have you on mute because I can't listen and write.
Oh, I have a whole load of questions about that, like transcriptions and audio and stuff. I'll save that for tomorrow.
Yeah, book a call with me. All right, speak to you soon.
Take care. Have fun.
You too. Bye.